I'm actually gonna lean a little bit towards Crawford. I don't know. I think he might be able to make adjustments a little more on the spot. Spence manages the distance very well. He's able to use and control the distance with short little, movements. But I mean, it's a tough one to call.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me. And we are back for another one. Alright, y'all, we got a new topic. Did Terence Bud Crawford sign a slave deal to fight Errol Spence Jr.? Alright, y'all, so according to rumors, I don't know how true this is yet, but we do know that the paperwork is pretty much finalized. The lawyers are still combing through things. There are reports going around that Terence Crawford has already signed his portion of the contract, which I'm not sure if I believe yet, because ESPN's reporting that the lawyers are cleaning up the wording of the paperwork. So I don't understand why Terence Crawford would have signed and Errol Spence hadn't signed it yet. But there are reports saying that Terence Crawford has signed his portion of the deal. Errol Spence still hasn't signed his portion of the deal. But now people are reporting that Terence Crawford feels like he signed a slavery deal. That he signed a deal basically to exploit him and to set him up to lose his title. And I want to react to that. How do I feel about those words? Me personally, I do feel like when everything's against you, basically you signed a deal to lose. In boxing, things can be set up to your advantage. And your opponent, there might not be anything that your opponent can do about it except for give his 100% all to try to beat you. Unlike other sports, team sports, it's a little different in team sports. In a one-on-one sport, everything can be placed against you in those situations, especially when you can dictate venues, when you can dictate purse splits, when you can dictate referees and judges and things of that nature. Then you can set it up to where everything is in favor of one person and not the other, and not an equal playing field, basically. So, I mean, I would totally have to agree with Terence Crawford that, yeah, you signed the slave deal because you had no choice but to sign the slave deal. I've said this before. Errol Spence Jr. basically mind-effed Terence Crawford making some rash decisions as far as leaving Bob Arum, as far as trying to promote himself, not realizing how difficult that it is to promote yourself and the things that you have to do in order to be successful at promoting yourself. Now, I know what everybody's going to say. Well, Bob Arum was a bad this, that, and the third. Bob Arum is a businessman. He is in the business of making money. Is his business to make you famous? Yes, it is. Is his business to make you rich? Yes, it is. Is his business to make you bigger than he is? No, it isn't. And when you get to a point where you feel like you're bigger than who's paying you, it becomes a problem. So I can sort of agree with some of the people saying, well, Bob Arum was taking advantage of him, or yada, yada, yada. Well, I agree with you halfway. And I know it's going to be another portion of people that say, well, look what Floyd Mayweather did when he left Bob Arum. He had so much more success after leaving Bob Arum. Even Manny Pacquiao had to leave Bob Arum. Well, you know what Floyd Mayweather had before he left Bob Arum? He had fame already, he had the ties to promote himself, and he already had a whole lot of money. Things that Terence Crawford doesn't have. Terence Crawford has good money, but not Floyd Mayweather money when he left Bob Arum. Terence Crawford has connections, not the connections Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao had when they left Bob Arum. And Terence Crawford he has a little bit of fame. Unfortunately, he's not even as famous as Errol Spence, who's not even nowhere near as famous as a Mayweather or Pacquiao was. And there are people saying that this fight can't do better than Maypac. I beg to differ with that, but I'll save that for another conversation. I do feel like Terence Crawford had to take a raw deal in order to make this fight, but it's mostly his own fault. he could have made this a better situation by taking this fight under Bob Arum and then leaving Bob Arum once the first fight happened, and then make the second fight as an independent. But he decided to do it his way. These are Bud's rules. Nobody can nobody can go against Bud's rules. But I think with Bud's rules being in place, he forced himself to have to take a raw deal to make the Errol Spence Jr. fight. And in hindsight, I think he's going to end up getting done even worse by PBC than he would have under Bob Arum. I think Bob Arum could have protected him a little bit more from what PBC could actually do to him, as far as setting him up with the, it seems like they bent a little bit on the venue. They're not bending on the money. He's waited all this time to still get a smaller portion of the money. And he's not getting, he's probably not going to get the ref he wanted. He's not going to get the drug testing he wants. Not going to get the judges he wants. So, I mean, he's basically took a lot of risk and put himself on another island, no longer Top Rank Island, but Bud Island now. And if he loses, it could all go sinking right beneath the ocean of Errol Spence Jr. So, I do feel like, in a way, this is a slavery deal. In a way, it's a raw deal. It's a bad deal. But at the end of the day, that's the fight you have to make. You can't do anything else without that Errol Spence Jr. fight, because fans would chew you apart for not taking that fight. So at the end of the day, he's going to have to give his best performance of his career to justify taking this fight. And he's going to have to win to save himself. Even though he's got a rematch clause in there, I think if he loses and loses badly, it's pretty much over anyway. Let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section. Do you think Terence Crawford took a raw deal, a slavery deal to make the Errol Spence Jr. fight? Hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, but you're more than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there if you want a response. It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me, and we are Manny. I'm on my 502 shit.
I'm actually gonna lean a little bit towards Crawford. I don't know. I think he might be able to make adjustments a little more on the spot. Spence manages the distance very well. He's able to use and control the distance with short little movements. But I mean, it's a tough one to call. I'm actually gonna lean a little bit towards Crawford. I don't know. I think he might be able to make adjustments a little more on the spot. Spence manages the distance very well. He's able to use and control the distance with short little movements. But I mean, it's a tough one to call.